We are back at Wrigley Field under cloudy skies in Chicago. Game 1 goes to the Cubs by a final score of 4-2. The importance of that is the magic number for the Cubs in the National League Central has been reduced to a single skinny digit. If the Cubs win this, they win the division outright. If the Pirates win, the Cubs have at least, Dave, guaranteed them a chance to win it tomorrow outright, or if disaster strikes, you play Monday. But the Cubs aren't thinking about Monday as far as playing is concerned. They're thinking about working out down in Atlanta in preparation for Game 1 of the divisional playoff series.
Exactly right. The Cubs assured of a playoff game on Monday, but ideally the Cubs win this ball game. Kerry Wood slated to pitch tomorrow. If the Cubs clinch it in this second ball game, Kerry Wood would open up the playoffs against the Atlanta Braves. What a terrific job by Mark Pryor in this first ball game, along with the bullpen. Pryor going 6 2/3 innings of 2-run baseball and was able to stymie the Pirates, and along with another great job, Joe Borowski with his 33rd save. And this crowd, I've been in this ballpark a lot of times, and this crowd was electric, very similar to what we saw when the Cubs played the New York Yankees earlier this year. And there you take a look at the standings, Chip, and boy, Milwaukee has done a number on the Astros, taken 2 out of the first 3 in that 4-game series. And the Houston starters have faltered the last couple of ball games. Jeremy Robertson last night only lasting 1/3 of an inning. And then today, Ron Vallone, the loser in the first game.
So this is what Cubs fans all across the country have dreamed about. Not only a chance to win the division, but since divisional play began in 1969, the Cubs have won twice, but they've never done it before their home fans. And think about this. Again, it's easy to talk about, much more difficult to do. But if the Cubs win this game today, imagine a Saturday night in Chicago with the Cubs champions of the National League's Central Division. And that man will take the hill for the Cubs, Matt Clement, who could use a redeemer here this afternoon. Matt would be the first to tell you that things did not go very well for him against the Pittsburgh Pirates, his hometown ballpark, PNC Park. But today's a new day, and he's got to oppose Ryan Vogelsong, young man who's won his last 2 decisions and is coming off Tommy John surgery for the Pittsburgh Ball Club. But momentum's on the side of the Cubs. They've had a great September, and again, Sammy leads the charge out to right, and the Cubs look for win number 88 and a division title to boot. So Clement takes the long, slow walk to the Wrigley Field mound. Here's the Pirate lineup he will face in Game 2. Nearly identical to the one Mark Pryor tamed in the opener. Tyke Redmond leads off in center field, followed by Abraham Nunez batting and playing second. Rob Makoviak will be in right field now. Frank Wilson gets the start behind the plate. No Jason Kendall in a starting role. Carlos Rivera is the first baseman. Jason Bay is in left. Jack Wilson, the shortstop, hits 7th. Our old pal Jose Hernandez is at 3rd. And Ryan Vogelsong will pitch and bat 9th.
Well, a couple of regulars missing from that Pirates lineup. Jason Kendall in particular, along with Matt Stairs, who's done a fine job over at first base. Matt Clement, we mentioned his last outing, not a good one. 3 innings pitched, giving up 6 runs. And there's another guy, when you look at the innings pitched, hopefully he will reach that 200 inning mark. 3 starters for the Cubs have already reached that. Big key for Matt Clement. His second half has been terrific, and that has been his slider against right-handed hitters, doubly tough. Being able to throw that pitch for strikes, along with his sinking fastball.
As you'd figure with Matt, the key to this game is going to be, Dave, how he handles the left-handed bats for the Pirates. Now, Stairs, their biggest home run threat from the left side, isn't in there. But Rivera can put a charge into the ball as well. So what does Matt do to counteract the problems he had in his last outing?
Well, since he has been a Chicago Cub, he has had improvement against left-handed hitters, because he has been able to cut that fastball inside the lefties with the work of Larry Rothschild. Before, Clement would throw that fastball inside the left-handed hitters, and it would tail back out over the plate, and that's when you really get hurt. So he has been more effective against left-handed hitters, but when you do look at this lineup, you certainly have to be concerned with that. Redmond, Nunez, Makoviak, all at the top, and Carlos Rivera hitting 5th for the Pirates.
So here we go. The nightcap is upon us, and the fate of the Cubs atop the division rests in the right arm of that man, Matt Clement. A win, and we wing our way to Atlanta on Monday. Tyke Redmond will go to work first. He was 2 for 5 in the opening game of today's play. Cubs in at the corners, thinking Redmond might try to bunt. And you figure Clement's going to be a little excited. He misses with a fastball high and away. How do you counteract the nerves, the jitters, when you're a sinker ball pitcher in the early innings?
A couple of deep breaths, and as soon as you can lock in, Chip, on that catcher's glove, once you do that, you're that much more relaxed. It also helps to get that first out.
And first strike. 2 balls, no strikes. That one in. 2-1 your count. 61 degrees, winds out of the west at 14 miles an hour, which means the wind blowing toward the right field corner here. And that's where the Cubs are, atop the Central Division by a game and a half. Redmond ahead in the count now at 3 balls and a strike.
But you also think about how many big games the Cubs have been in this second half. Frankly, every game has been huge for the Cubs, and they're that much closer now.
Sharply hit ground ball to second. Runs Alanik. Gets his man. Good start. Hard hit ball, but 1 out. Here's a look, Dave, at the Cubs defensive lineup, and they turned in a terrific effort in game 1.
And Dusty Baker going with primarily the same lineup in the outfield. Lou Lofton and Sosa left to right. And in your infield, Ramirez, Martinez, Rudzelanic, and Karros. So Martinez and Karros and Paul Bacco behind the plate did not start game 1.
Here's Abraham Nunez. Nunez was 0 for 3 in the opener. Walked a couple of times, including in the 9th inning against Joe Borowski. He made things interesting. Hands held high above his head as Clement fires one across the shoe tops. Bill Welke's our home plate umpire for the nightcap. John Hirschbeck, crew chief at first. Ted Barrett at second, and Wally Bell, the umpire at third. Sharply hit ball. Karros snares that. He'll win the race to the bag. 2 ground ball outs. And you know, Karros, along with the Los Angeles Dodgers, real excited about playing in this game of great significance.
Well, it's nice to be right-handed first baseman on that particular play. Clement, good heads-up play by him to get over there, just in case Karros not able to get there by himself.
Karros has appeared in the division series twice, in 1995 and 1996 with the Dodgers. Here's Makoviak. Left-handed bat, 2 for 4 with an RBI in the first game. A strike from Clement. Line drive into center field. Lofton will play it safely. And Makoviak, a real good hitter, is on here in Pittsburgh's first inning. That might be, Dave, the most surprising thing about the Pirates. Since the middle of June, they're 49 and 47. A lot of people thought that that ball club was going to fade away in the Central Division. That has not been the case.
Offensively, they've been super. 3rd in average, 6th in run productions, and a big part of that is guys like Makoviak. That is a short and quick swing. And we talked about, Chip, you mentioned earlier, against left-handed hitters. Sometimes Clement does struggle against them, and there was a situation when that fastball just came back over the plate.
Here's Wilson. He hit a home run in the 4th inning of the first game. That gave the Pirates a brief 1-0 advantage off Mark Pryor, who, as Dave said, was simply overpowering with 10 strikeouts in 6 2/3 innings. Didn't mean to swing, and it's out of play. This crowd today really rocked and rolled in the last 3 innings of the first game. Now they're sitting back in eager anticipation of a Cub lead in the 9th today. They are going to be real important to nurse Clement through this game. Remember, Matt's pitching with a sore groin. I'd love to see the Cubs give him 4 or 5 early. Let him coast for a while. Big slider, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, Dusty Baker and Larry Rothschild have juggled the rotation a couple of times and just trying to keep everyone sharp and dealing with injuries. And it's nice for Dusty now to go with Mark Pryor that first game, give him the extra day. And now Matt Clement going on 6 days rest, and you mentioned his groin injury.
1-2. Rolled to the left side, and Wilson's aboard. 2 on with 2 out. So an inauspicious beginning for Clement. Here's Rivera, the young first baseman.
First couple innings always the toughest for a pitcher to find that breaking ball, and that time Clement just threw a hanging slider to Wilson.
And Rivera, one of the young farmhands for the Pirates, played at AAA Nashville this year, hit .263 with 31 RBIs in 72 games. They'll give him a look in spring training next year. But alas for the Pirates, their magic number is 2004. That's when they'll open spring training camp down in sunny South Florida. That man's done a real good job in Pittsburgh. He's kept his team very competitive these last 3 months under very difficult circumstances, and Lloyd McClendon deserves a big pat on the back. To Carlos Rivera.
Boy, you get a swing on that. Lower and slower.
Here come the Cubs bats against Ryan Vogelsong in the first.
This is my bridge. This is my building. And this is my truck.
People that care about getting the job done right. We built the Toyota Tundra better from the ground up.
Fat, plump, juicy. These are but a few of the compliments heaped upon the behemoth burgers at Boston Blackie's. Some of our customers have created their own Blackie-cabulary. Lori describes her Boston Blackie burger as Gordo Grande. Ruth calls Blackie's hot dogs the Titanic two-handed tubes. And Barb's Burger, where are you going to park that colossal caboose, Chester? Whatever you call the food at Boston Blackie's, you've said a mouthful.
Mom, what date did you and Dad get married?
November 23rd.
What year?
1986.
When's Grandma's birthday?
You'll never get the passcode, Eric.
Passcode protected parental control. Kids hate it, moms love it. Another way Comcast digital cable makes life a little cooler.
On Fox Sports 9.
Pitch Pittsburgh failed to score in the first inning, and Cub great Ryan Sandberg, his lovely wife Margaret, on hand, hoping the Cubs can seal the deal here in the nightcap. And this is the lineup Dusty sends out with a magic number of 1. Kenny Lofton leads off in center. Mark Gruntelanek bats in play second, with Sosa, Alou, and Ramirez to follow. Eric Karros at first base. Ramon Martinez the shortstop. Paul Bacco catching the second game of the double dip, and Matt Clement pitches and bats ninth. There's a look at Ryan Vogelsong, formerly of the San Francisco Giants, and he threw a very good game at the Cubs at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. In fact, 1 unearned run, 5 hits, 8 strikeouts, and 7 innings of work. Vogelsong 26, Dave, coming off Tommy John surgery.
When the Pittsburgh Pirates traded away Jason Schmidt to the San Francisco Giants, the Pirates insisted that Vogelsong be in that deal. The Giants very reluctant to give up a guy like Vogelsong. However, the last couple of years he has been hurt and making the long road back. Spent most of the year in AAA, making a second start against the Cubs, and it was a good one. Last time out, 7 innings pitched.
In fact, he beat Matt Clement, so this is a rematch. When the Cubs saw the Pirates on September 20th, 1 week ago, they were a game and a half out. They've made up 3 games in the Central, playing on the road while Houston played at home. That is some kind of effort. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lofton scorches that out of play.
You can go through the season, Chip. There was one point where the Cubs were 5.5 games back. In August, big series against the Houston Astros. Down in that first game, Dusty Baker elected to hit Zambrano in the 7th inning. Zambrano with the home run to tie things up. The Cubs go on to win that ball game.
That was the hanging breaking ball from Wade Miller down in Houston.
Oh, my.
He hit it a mile. That tied the game. And the Cubs eventually prevailed over Houston. The Astros, if you're just now joining us, were beaten again by Milwaukee, 5-2 the final. Lofton takes strike 3. Vogelsong a surprise party. And the leadoff man down for the Cubs here in our first.
Vogelsong with the live fastball. Again, coming back from that arm surgery, still getting his fastball back, but he is a horse. 6'3", 220 pounds, and against the Cubs last time, he was able to sink the fastball away to left-handed hitters, and then once he got ahead in the count, he would throw that fastball upstairs.
Cubs really got their best looks at him the second time through the batting order up in Pittsburgh. They left the bases loaded, as a matter of fact, in the 4th inning of that ball game. They'll have an opportunity to cash in a few early ones here in the first inning. Gruntelanek. What a year for him. What a year for Eric Karros. What a year, even more importantly, for Jim Hendry, the Cubs general manager. Got quality guys to turn in quality efforts this year. And the Cubs coming back from a 67-win season at 87 at the moment. For Sammy Sosa. Sammy walked, scored, and drove in his 102nd run. And that was in the 5th inning. We'd like to welcome our affiliate Comcast and their viewers in Palatine, Illinois, to Menace Day at Wrigley Field. 1 ball, no strikes. Against Vogelsong, Sammy had a real tough time. He was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Good pitch, good call. 1-1 your count.
A couple of those at-bats against Vogelsong, even though the 3 strikeouts, Sammy had some pretty good at-bats, fouling off a ton of pitches, just wasn't able to get the ball in play.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bases clear here in our first inning.
Well, we mentioned that the live fastball from Vogelsong. The other thing he did real well last time was with that breaking ball right there. Hard breaking ball. Every once in a while he'll take a little bit more off of it. It's like a slurve.
That's just off the corner, evening the count. One more game left in the regular season. That's tomorrow. Kerry Wood scheduled to go for the Cubs. Kip Wells for the Pirates. Will retire Ron Santos number 10 as well. That ceremony will start at 12:40. Hopefully, it'll be a happy night tonight. Sammy hits a rocket straight away center field. Redmond will wave goodbye. There goes for Sosa, number 40.
Not too many people have gone over the Junipers. And Sammy just did with the hanger his 40th.
9 straight 100 RBI seasons for Sosa. So it's 1-0 for Sammy Sosa on a rocket shot straight away center field. And you figured that he was itching to make Vogelsong pay for his performance in Pittsburgh. Two balls, no strikes to Moises Alou. Check swing, pop to the right side. Rivera is there. First inning in the books. Sammy Sosa's 40th home run puts the Cubs in front, 1-0.
Two more steps, guys.
Come on, Mom.
We've been to the video store and the dry cleaners. I think we've been in the car all day.
Hard-working engines need a hard-working oil. Introducing Pennzoil's SUV, truck, and minivan motor oil. Not just oil, Pennzoil.
Get the Pennzoil Protection Package at Jiffy Lube and get $10 back on your next Pennzoil service.
Easy, gang.
Plenty of room.
To make the ride to the game more comfortable, Chevy thought roomy Suburbans and Tahoes were just the ticket.
Sit back and get comfortable.
Now get $4,500 total cash back on every 2003 Chevy Tahoe. Or get $5,000 total cash back on every 2003 Chevy Suburban. Hurry, the selection won't last.
Maybe this wasn't the best idea.
Copy that. See your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealer today.
Mr. Thompson, after hearing the evidence and listening to your testimony, this committee finds you guilty of obstruction of justice, embezzlement of company funds, and questionable accounting practices. Well, there appears to be some good news.
Yes, sir.
Well, I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico. Thanks very much.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This is the time of year where you want your stars to lead you. And in the first, Sammy Sosa unloads with his 40th home run. He's hit 40 or more every year since 1998.
Boy, those 3 home runs against the Reds, all on breaking balls. Vogelsong must not have gotten the scouting report, because right now, when Sammy gets a hanger, you have to get a new baseball.
Sammy's hit more home runs in the history of Major League Baseball over any 10-year period, including Babe Ruth.
And it started in 1994.
What's amazing about that 30 homer, 100 RBIs statistic, all the other guys besides Sosa are American League players. Sammy plays in right field every inning, virtually every inning of every game. This year a big exception with the toe injury, the suspension. Who will forget 66 home runs. It's been so refreshing, I'm sure, for him and for the rest of his mates. Finally, there is a supporting cast around Sammy Sosa that makes it a team effort. When you're the only show in town, and frankly, in 1999, 2001, last year, wasn't really a whole lot of positive to talk about other than what Sammy Sosa did on a daily basis. This year, he shared the spotlight, and the Cubs are looking good. Strikes out, 2 in a row for Clement, 1 away in our second inning.
Sure, there were seasons where the Cubs' fortunes would go the way of how Sammy was doing. But there's been a couple instances this year, and you alluded to it, with during the suspension, during his injury, other guys, it was a huge pick-me-up year for the Cubs.
Here's Jack Wilson. What a play he made at shortstop in the opening game. This guy, I think, is a real underappreciated and underrated middle infield player for the Pirates. He's not going to win the Gold Glove, and he's made his share of defensive miscues, but this guy's around the baseball up the middle. Makes the great majority of the plays he's supposed to, and a whole lot more of the spectacular ones.
And came over from the St. Louis Cardinals a couple of years back, and Lloyd McClendon insisted that Wilson be involved in that trade.
Driven to right, Sammy is there, drifting back a bit, 2 down. Well, it's not surprising that under the tutelage of George Kissel, minor league coach for the St. Louis organization, that Wilson heeded his lessons and is going to be a very good player for a long time. Here's Jose Hernandez. This is a matchup you figure Clement should have a pretty good shot at. You throw this guy high fastballs, as Clement does, and he's going to wear you out. It's the breaking ball that Hernandez struggles to hit. 3 singles for Pittsburgh, a 2-out safety brings up the pitcher here.
And that's why Hernandez will hack early in the count, because he doesn't want to get to 2 strikes.
So here is Vogelsong. Foul for a strike to Ryan Vogelsong.
Vogelsong acquired from the Giants, and in his first start in a Pittsburgh Pirate uniform, his second start, blew his elbow out, that being the 2001 season.
Good breaking ball, 0-2.
Throw it again, right?
Absolutely. Inning over. Clement has his 3rd strikeout and a 1-run lead in the middle of our second inning.
If only all businesses were like Walgreens Pharmacy, then they'd give you automatic refills too. Because Walgreens can automatically refill your prescription before it runs out. And they call or email you when it's ready. So it's easier to keep track of all your prescriptions. For Fortunately, there's at least one place that's designed around your needs. Walgreens. Why go anywhere else?
It was fast. We made it faster. It was smart. We made it smarter. Until it was as close to perfect as it's ever come. And that's saying something. Introducing the new, more powerful ES330. At your Chicago area Lexus dealer.
The ultimate fantasy football show. We know who to start, who to sit, who's a stud, and who's a dud. The hidden gems. We know what you don't. Weekends on Fox Sports Net.
Tonight, hockey returns to Fox Sports Net. Steve Sullivan and the Blackhawks square off against Keith Tkachuk and the St. Louis Blues in a preseason showdown. It's Blackhawks Blues hockey tonight at 7 on Fox Sports Net. Speaking of icing, Cubs hope to ice down a little bubbly at the end of this ball game and then pop the cork on their first division title since 1989. Still a lot of work to go, but a Sosa home run puts them in front after an inning and a half of play. And Aramis Ramirez leads things off for the Cubs in the second. This is the lone race left to be decided in Major League Baseball. All three American League divisional races and the wild card are settled. In the National League, Atlanta's won the East. The Giants have won the West. The Florida Marlins are the wild card. One more win by the Cubs wins them the Central and a first-round date with the Atlanta Braves in the playoffs.
And I don't think there's any surprise with Atlanta in the East. I do think there's a surprise with the Giants in the West, the number of guys that they lost in the offseason. And certainly a potential surprise here with the Cubs. I don't think you could have scripted any better of a season for this franchise than this year.
No balls, 2 strikes to Aramis Ramirez.
And did you think in spring training that we would be sitting here right now?
Well, in so many ways, this team reminds me of the '91 Braves team that went from worst to first into the World Series. I remember sitting down with Ernie Johnson as that ball's rocketed into left field, talking with my dad. And I asked them, what would be a good year? Because the Braves had had similar and even longer trouble than the Cubs had. A good year would have been 500. I think the Cubs probably in their heart of hearts thought if they could win 82, 83 games, they'd be incredibly excited about taking a very large step forward. But I would also tell you that in a year like this, you have so many guys that are unlikely heroes step up. The Karoses, the Grudzelanes, the Zambranos, the Joe Borowskis, Mark Pryor winning 18 games in his rookie year. Or his first full major league year, I should say.
Well, one of the things that you don't know going into a season with new acquisitions, and certainly you see them on the playing field, guys like Eric Karros, Mark Grudzelanek, but what you don't know is what kind of character they have. And we have certainly seen that this year.
Another line drive, this one into right field. Boy, Eric Karros is a professional hitter. Remember when this Cub team was real right-handed for about 6 weeks? There was a stretch where Eric Karros single-handedly kept the Cubs alive because of base hits like that one to right field.
That son of a gun is one of the first guys to show up at the ballpark every day. And he takes that tee, that batting tee, and he goes out to the outfield behind the ivy into the batting cage, and every day he swings the bat. You know, there's guys on this ball club, one guy in particular, Ramon Martinez, where, you know, they're not in the lineup every day, but they stay sharp.
Well, that's why I think Dusty Baker's teams with the Giants and this year with the Cubs play so much better baseball in the second half of the season. He said when he took the job that he was a guy that used all 25 men on his roster. At times, as any manager will do for the casual fan, there'll be a lineup that you just scratch your head. What's the reasoning behind this? He knows his personnel. It took him about 50, 55 games to figure out who could do what and who couldn't do what. But But if you play everybody, then when you need a big play in a big game, you don't hesitate to put a man in a situation where he can succeed because he's had 3 or 4 or 5 at-bats prior to that big moment. 1 ball, 1 strike, and the same holds true for the bullpen guys. I mean, you can't not use a guy for 2 weeks and then put him in with a bases loaded 1 out and expect him to be sharp. That's just not the way this game works.
One of the big decisions that the Cubs made early in the year was in April with off days, you can easily go with a 4-man rotation. They stayed with the 5-man rotation, giving those starters that extra day.
Ground ball up the middle. Wilson can't get it. Cuts into center field. They're going to wave Ramirez around. There'll be no play. They're at the corners. Nobody out. The Cubs lead by 2. There's an example of it. Martinez came on in the 7th inning of game 1. In his first at bat today, he shoots a ball up the middle and drives home the 2nd run of this game.
And that's a play that Wilson normally makes at shortstop, gets by him, and where we saw Vogelsong with a nasty breaking ball his last outing against the Cubs, now it's hanging. And Ramirez scores easily, and just as important, Eric Karros goes first to third on the play.
So with nobody out, Paul Bacco stands in. Bacco has been terrific, hitting .274 the last 7 weeks of this season. And he has called it, caught it, and thrown it better than anybody could have expected.
Big double the other night in Cincinnati in Sean Estes' ball game with the shutout. Bases clearing double. Earlier in the year, Bacco was 6 RBIs against the Reds.
Yeah, what did he have against Cincinnati? Cleared the bags twice in a single season against them. The 0-2 pitch to him with men at the corners. Fly ball foul and out of play. Each passing moment, each run tallied. The excitement building at Wrigley Field in Chicago, where a standing room gathering is on hand. The Cubs will not get to 3 million in regular season play. That's because of yesterday's rainout. Well, they're going to have 41, 42,000 here today and tomorrow. And they're going to get to 296 or so. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
We have 80 dates then. I don't have my calculator, but what is that average per game? I mean, that's got to be 36.
Almost 37,000 per day. 36,956 coming into today's game.
Stellar.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Sharply hit up the middle. It's 3-0. 4 straight hits. All right, Chicago. Let's get a little buzz going here in the 2nd inning. 3-0, nobody out. Stopping at second is Martinez. And you figure Clement is going to try to bunt here.
I would like to see a bunt here. Clement hitting a hard 150.
A single run in the first, 2 in the second. Cubs going for the jugular. This is exactly what Dusty wanted to see. A big early lead and keep adding it on. The punt on, and then he swings and he misses. You can see Hernandez and Rivera, their life flashing before their eyes as Clement drew the bat back.
Rivera over at first base was in that Clement's hip pocket.
And he may have missed a sign. Wendell Kim's down there talking to Clement.
And really, Clement squared around too late. And no way that he could bring the bat back and put a good swing on that pitch about 2 feet outside. Watch out for the pickoff at second base.
We saw that against Milwaukee with Houston yesterday, especially with the pitcher in the batter's box. Sometimes that pitcher will bunt through a pitched ball, and that runner anticipating contact will wander a couple of steps off the bag, and an alert throwing catcher can sometimes catch that man napping out at second base.
In that time, Wilson trying to have Martinez extend his lead while Nunez backs in at second base.
Clement punts. Hernandez will make the pickup. Sacrifice of beauty. Second and third, 1 out. 5-4 the scoring. Top of the order now for Lofton.
It's a nice ball to bunt right there. A hanging breaking ball, and Clement making sure that Hernandez fields it. Kenny Lofton here.
So they'll load the bases with 1 out and take their chances with the righty-righty matchup of Grudzielanek and Vogelsong. But remember, Mark Grudzielanek second only to the Astros' Richard Hidalgo in batting average this month in the National League. So the bags will be full with 1 more bad one to Kenny Lofton here.
I just think that Lloyd McClendon is sick of seeing Kenny Lofton drive the ball up the middle. 2 hits in the first game, and Lofton, a member of the Pirates, beginning of the year, 26-game hitting streak. Tell you what, Vogelsong had pretty good stuff on that intentional walk. I've seen guys launch to try and lob one in that situation. You end up throwing one away.
So here's a chance for Mark Grudzielanek to put a huge number on the scoreboard here. He lined out his last time. Ball 1, no place to put him with Sosa on deck. Spin Williams out along with Wilson, trying to settle in Vogelsong here. Other baseball today, Milwaukee beat Houston. Wes Obermuller beat Ron Vallone. The Cubs a 1.5 game lead. Can clinch it with a victory today. Mets beat Florida. They got a big 7-run inning. I think that was in the 7th. They beat Florida 9-3 today. Atlanta loses to the Phillies 7-6 in 10.
Is that the Italian?
I think so. Keep Randall Simon away from that guy. John Smoltz, by the way, gave up 2 to force extra innings. Phillies 1. Swing and belted down the left field line, but he yanked it out of play. Dodgers beating the Giants 1-0. That's in the 5th. Cardinals over Arizona 3-2. And already Mark Corey gets up for the Pirates. 1 ball, 1 strike to Grudzielanek. Bases full of Cubs, leading by 3. Wilson again. More meetings than the UN Security Council here in this second inning of play. One ball, 2 strikes. That move to the mound might have been on instructions from the dugout to give Corey some more tosses. 1-2 your count. Sharply hit up the middle, base hit. 1 run scores. Bacco around third. Redmond loads up. His throw off target. It's a base hit and it's 5-0. Lofted all the way around to third.
Boy, just pouring on. How many great at-bats have we seen from Grud this year? Vogelsong trying to go in early in the count, and then hangs the breaking ball, and Grud drives it up the middle. And that will do it for Mr. Vogelsong. A tale of 2 starts for him. Outstanding the first time against the Cubs, but not today.
So the Cubs have that big lead for Matt Clement. That's exactly what they wanted. We'll see if they can continue to pour it on. 5-0 in what could be the clincher at Wrigley Field. More fun to follow this time out.
I love hanging out with my son. I love playing games with him. And I love more than anything probably us just laughing. I mean, at home, we imitate, coyotes to each other. And he knows what a coyote sounds like. There's nothing greater than the laughter of a child. Because it's genuine, they don't care who hears them, they don't care how loud it is, and they don't care if you think it's funny or not. He can do that coyote pretty good.
Is this your town, home to great neighbors and very hard water? You need CLR.
Water stains everything.
CLR is specially formulated to take on calcium, lime, and rust.
After I clean my coffee pot with CLR, the coffee just tastes fantastic.
CLR gets rid of buildup in your humidifier and rust stains in your washing machine. Wherever there's buildup, CLR can help.
CLR is available at these and other leading stores.
Shining is finding new ways to do things. For over 65 years, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois has worked to ensure your health and the health of those closest to you. And every day, we're seeking ways to improve what we do. Sometimes, the things that are familiar to you can still surprise you. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, shining through.
Mark Corey is on for the Pirates. And he'll face Sammy Sosa. Runners first and third, only 1 man out.
And there you see the numbers on Mark Corey. Decent fastball, but his big pitch is the big overhand curveball.
Wicked cut. Tell you what, they will be rocking and rolling at Harry Carey's downtown tonight if the Cubs can clinch it. 1-1 the count to Sosa. 2 balls and a strike.
You take care of me tonight?
Absolutely. I'll have to talk to Grant DePorter. We may have to buy a round on the house when I get there later on tonight. We will see, though. 2 balls and a strike. Still work to be done. That one skips up there. And a terrific stop by Wilson to keep Lofton at third base. and there's still a lot of baseball to be played in this ball game. But as we look 2 booths down, and you look at the man who's going to be honored tomorrow, you think about what could be in another 2 hours or so. Line down the left field line, but Sammy pulled it too far. 3-2. And that man, of course, is Ron Santo. That man has given his life to this organization. His number is going to be retired tomorrow. They'll fly the banner somewhere here at Wrigley Field. And if things continue to go as they are, there'll be 2 of them tomorrow. Runner at first goes. 3-2 is popped out of play. Dusty was very aggressive in the first game. Doing the same here with the Cubs, wrapping out 5 runs on 6 hits. Shoes, as one member of my family used to say.
I'm not sure what high button shoes are.
3-2. Swing and a miss. The throw is into center field. The Cubs steal a run. Sosa strikes out, but the throwing error brings home Kenny Lofton. Brunzalonic all the way around to third. It's a 6-0 game.
Jason Kendall not in this ball game. Craig Wilson, although it has some experience behind the plate, and that's exactly why Dusty Baker put Rudd in motion. Poor throw from Wilson, and the Cubs steal a run. Boy, he just never got his feet in place to make the good throw to second base.
Hey, if the play was in center field, they'd have had him by a mile. Here's Alou. 1 ball, no strikes.
Right center.
So Moises popped out to end the first inning, and playing with a sore thumb. He'll pop that ball to the right side and out of play.
Sore thumb and also a sore face. Alou
yeah, he got kneed in the face on a takeout slide at second.
I don't see any blemishes. You?
Not in this score. 6-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sharply hit. Backing up is Hernandez. He's got a very strong and accurate arm. Huge second inning for the Cubs. This town's ready to erupt as far as the National Leaguers are concerned. 5 runs come across. Next year might be here. It's 6-0.